Hello, YouTube. And hello, you. Today, I have a Blast from the Past deck. A deck that I have actually quite a lot of experience with. And a deck that does not really exist anymore. All thanks to this lovely individual who commented on my last video and asked me to play, don't look at the second part, Grixis Delver. I love Grixis Delver back in 2016, 2017-ish era. I played a lot of it. I played it when Jataxian Probe was legal. It won me 2 Underground Seas, so I can't really complain about it. Let's jump into the deck list and we can talk all about it. So, here we have Grixis Delver. Now, Grixis Delver doesn't really exist anymore. I had to kind of work from the ground up in trying to make it work. So let's talk about the deck decisions that I made, starting from left to right. So, left, 19 lands. I'm a bigger fan of 18 lands in Murktide. I think 19 lands is quite a lot. I think the deck floods quite often. But we are playing a bunch of 1 mana, red, black, and blue spells that all need to be cast on the first turn. So we got to make sure that we have all of our colors. In terms of our land choices, I chose to go down to 1 basic because we really need to hit those colors. We are also not playing Blood Moon at all in the 75, which, you know, is a decision to make. But I think that in terms of this deck, the colors are just too much. Blood Moon doesn't really fit. And we'll see how the 1 basic ends up working out. End up cutting down to 3 Spire Bluff so that I can play a Darkslick Shores, 2 Watery Grave, 2 Steam Vents, and 9 fetch lands because I want to make sure that we get all of our colors. All right, to the right, 1 Considers. I mean, I feel like Consider is just an easy include. Delver of Secrets. We've been asked to play Grixis Delver, so there's got to be Delver in the deck, right? Let's move this up here. 4 Dragon's Rage Channelers, 4 Ragavan. In my opinion, Dragon's Rage Channeler is kind of just a better Delver. It's a 1 mana 1/1 that fuels the graveyard, also can turn into a 3 power, 3 toughness creature. That 3 toughness actually kind of matters. Unholy Heat dealing 2 damage, Prismari commands, trying to go into other 2 damage, but that 3 toughness actually can quite matter. It forcing itself to attack is kind of irritating, but it is just a better Delver in my mind. It fuels your graveyard. It fixes your draws. So I feel like if we're playing 4 Delver, we should probably play 4 Dragon's Rage Channeler. I wanted to try to cut 1, but I'm just like, well, if we're playing Delver, like, you know, if I'm not going to cut Delver, I'm not going to cut Dragon's Rage Channeler. Ragavan. I mean, Ragavan is probably just the best 1-drop in the deck. Probably the best 1-drop in Modern. Arguably the best 1-drop of all time. You can fight me in the comment section about that one. Up to you. 4 Lightning Bolt. I feel like we need the reach. We're playing Delvers. We're playing Dragon's Rage Channelers. Playing Ragavans. Pretty aggressive. Want to make sure we have all the reach. Definitely don't want to cut it. I love Lightning Bolt. So 3 Unholy Heat. Well, if you look down here at all these black discard spells, Unholy Heat is very good. Love that card. 1 mana. Pretty much kills the majority of the format. But I feel like because we got all these discard spells down here, that these discard spells kind of fill a very similar role that Unholy Heat does, as well as things like Spell Snare and Spell Pierce and Minor Misstep. I feel like the discard spells fill a very similar role. They remove the thing that you want removed. They get rid of the card that you don't want to have to deal with. So I thought that if we're going to play black, the main reason to play Grixis, to play black, at least in the main deck, is these black discard spells. If you look at all of our options of black cards, so moving down to now these discard spells, all the reasonable blue, black, reds, all the things that splash black, we have Inquisition of Kozilek, we have Thoughtseize, we have the Terminate that we have here, we have Drown in the Loch, we have... There's honestly not that many interesting black cards. There's some here and there, but in terms of power level, Thoughtseize and Inquisition are at a higher level than a lot of those. Inquisition versus Kozilek, I think Inquisition is better right now. That's why we're playing 3 over the 2. If you go on MTG Goldfish and you look at these deck lists, they are a majority 3 drops and under. Mostly even 2 drops and under, to be honest. So Inquisition should hit pretty much everything. It doesn't hit Primeval Titan. It doesn't hit Murktide Regent. It doesn't hit Fury or Solitude or Omnath. That's really it. I can't really think of any more cards in the format off the top of my head. Tron things. But Inquisition hits everything else. So, and then the Thoughtseizes, just in case, to make sure that we can hit those Primeval Titans or whatever it might be. To the right, counter spells. I don't really want to touch those. I mean, I think that if we're playing this deck, we might as well just play counterspell. I mean, we have a lot of blue lands. Every one of our lands makes blue. Expressive Iteration, arguably the best card in the deck other than Ragavan. So definitely not touching that. The Singular Terminate is because I wanted to try this out alongside all of our removal and our discard. I think Drown and Lock is not that great. My personal opinion, I see it's played a lot in things like Grixis Death Shadow. I don't like how situational it is. It requires your opponent to have a certain amount of cards in their grave. Now, sometimes they will have those cards, and it will be the counter spell, it will be the kill spell. I like having the unconditional piece of removal. I wanted to try it out. I have no clue. I haven't really tried Grixis Delver in 6 years, 5-6 years, something like that. So the one Terminate essentially is supposed to be like the 4th Unholy Heat. Archmage Charms. Okay, so there's another black card that I am not including, Maestro's Charm. That card is underwhelming. If you guys don't know what Maestro's Charm does, it is red, black, blue. So all of Grixis, instant. It looks at the top 5, pick one, put it into your hand, put the rest into the grave. Or Lightning Helix your opponent. Or deal 5 to a creature or planeswalker. It always 1-for-1s. Sometimes the look at the top 5, put a card in your hand, put the rest in the grave is like a 1.5-for-1, right? It fuels a Murktide, it turns on Dragon's Rage Channeler, and then you draw the card. So that can kind of almost be 2 cards, but Archmage Charm is a guaranteed 2-for-1. It guaranteed draws you 2 cards. It counters a spell, it gains control of something. Basically, the counter spell is essentially a kill spell. Sometimes even better. And then gain control is kind of like a kill spell, but sometimes even better. Additionally, it is a lot easier on our mana base, interestingly enough, because all of our lands produce blue. Not all of our lands produce Grixis. If we have Spire Bluff, Steam Vents, and Island, we can't cast Maestro's Charm. So, Archmage Charm, if we're playing 19 lands, I wanted more card advantage. We're gonna flood a lot. That's how 19 lands works. I still don't think that 19 lands is right in Murktide, but, you know, fight me in the comment section about it. We needed some form of card advantage other than just Expressive Iteration. I wanted Archmage Charm. It fits a lot of roles. To Murktide, I think this very easily could just be 3. I wanted to make sure I had some of them. I think it's better than a Gurmag Angler. I think it's better than a Tasigur. I mean, Murktide is the name of the best deck. I mean, it's named Murktide for a reason. It's massive. It's 2 mana. All of our lands make blue. It flies. The second one helps the first one, which is why I think that we could be playing a third. But I also want to make sure that we have a lot of instant and sorcery density for our Delver of Secrets. That is why there's no Mishra's Bauble in this deck. That is why there's no Dress Down or even like an Engineered Explosives in the main. I wanted to make sure that we had the highest possibility of flipping Delver. So, cut down on some of the creatures. We're down to 14. That's pretty good. Alrighty. The sideboard. From left to right. Thoughtseize. I wanted another Thoughtseize. It's good against combo decks. Creativity, Amulet, Tron, Control. I just wanted to make sure that we had access to another one, another discard spell. I mean, Thoughtseize is just a generally good card. Engineer Explosives. It is one of our only answers to a Sanctifier Invoke. I don't know how that's how you pronounce it, but one of our only answers to it. It's just a generally good card. It hits a bunch of different stuff. Good against so many different decks. Creativity, Hammer, so on. There's so many different decks. So, additionally, we can also get to 3 colors pretty easily. I mean, we're playing a 3-color deck, and then maybe even 4. Not sure that'll ever be relevant, but, 3, not so bad. Dress Downs. I feel like Dress Down is just an irreplaceable card. I think the Dress Down does something in this deck that the rest of the deck doesn't do. Turning off creatures, like getting rid of their abilities, essentially Okoing them, is something the rest of this deck can't do. It can kill creatures, it can target them, it can block them, it can try to counter them, but making them do nothing, and especially hitting all of the Urza Saga tokens, that is just so valuable in my mind. I want to play 2, even if it's not an instant or sorcery for Delver. Unlicensors. So we could be playing Nihil Spellbomb. We could be playing Tormod's Crypts. I think Nihil Spellbomb is a little better than that. The reason why I'm not playing Nihil Spellbomb is because I think that the recurring graveyard hate is better than the one-off graveyard hate. If you think about the matchup like Murktide, getting rid of their graveyard once is pretty good, but they can fuel it so easily. They you exile their graveyard, they play a Dragon's Rage Channeler to consider. That's already like 3 cards in the grave. It's so easy for them to fill the graveyard. Recurring graveyard hate is the best right now. The reason why you would want a Nihil Spellbomb is more so for a dredge style matchup. Something where you need to hit it now. Unlicensed Hearse is good over time. Additionally, it turning itself into a creature is a really big deal. I mean, you crew it and it's an 8-power creature. It's a 10-power creature. That's a serious win condition. Terminate. I wanted another one. I don't know how good Terminate is, actually. So I wanted to try out the second one on the board. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it kills anything, so besides pro red and black cards. But, the majority of the rest. So, Brotherhood Ends. I think this card is absolutely incredible. It's one of my favorite sideboard cards. When I play Murktide, I play 2. Because when you see this card, it can just win the game. You destroy all artifacts against Hammer, that could just end the game on its own. 3 mana, deal 3 damage to all creatures and planeswalkers against Yawgmoth can just end the game on its own. There's so many situations that Brotherhood End just is a absolute bomb that I normally want to, but because we're playing black, because we don't have as many steam vents and the Spirebluff Canal and stuff, I think the double red is going to be a little bit harder, especially like on turn 3. And we're trying out some other stuff in here, so I'll go down to 1. Still think it's an absolute bomb. Would normally be playing 2. Kolaghan's Commands, kind of like a reason why we're cutting down the Brotherhood Ends. There's no Abrade, that kind of thing. It's a 2-for-1. It does a lot of different good things. Destroying an artifact and returning a creature. Dealing 2 and destroying an artifact. Making them discard and dealing... It's pretty much always a 2-for-1. Except, I guess if you're, dealing 2 to their face. But it's always a 2-for-1. It's always pretty good. Not sure when we're going to want to bring it in, but I know against Hammer, that's for sure. So, wanted to try it out. It's a good black card. Not really sure if it's really playable anymore. Okay, Unmoored Ego. In my personal opinion, if you want to play black, you want to try a Murktide Splash Black or this Delver or whatever, Unmoored Ego is one of the main reasons. It is a surgical extraction that you don't need to have the card in the graveyard for. Think about all the decks that taking out the main card against would be good. So, And additionally, something to keep in mind, we're not playing Blood Moon. So think about these matchups, right? Tron. Well, we don't play Blood Moon, but Unmoored Ego naming Urza's Tower, essentially Blood Moon. Even arguably better because they can't get rid of the Unmoored Ego, right? You play the Blood Moon and then they Beseiju it at one point in the game, or this, it's gone forever. They're no longer getting Tron. Indomitable Creativity, naming Archon, it's gone. No more Indomitable Creativity combo. They have to now play a value game. Amulet, naming Primetime, they're down to Valakut if they're playing it. I'm not even entirely sure how they win Urza Saga. I guess they try to win the game with Urza Saga. Well, we have 3. We just name Urza Saga. Unmoored Ego, in my opinion, is just such a powerful hate piece that is probably one of the main reasons why I would want to play black in the deck. And that is why we're trying out 3, because I want to see them. I want to draw it. I want to cast it. 2 is probably fine, but I have a philosophy when it comes to these sideboard cards. A reason why I play 2 Brotherhood ends when I play Murktide is that if a card, if when you cast a card, it very likely can either win the game or put you so far ahead that you're winning the game, I want to play multiple copies. Like, I get that our deck can dig pretty well, but if we, always want to see a Brotherhood end, why would we not want to play more than 1? So, that's kind of why I'm trying out 3 Unmoored Ego. 4 would be maybe a little too much, but, I think 3 is good. Fury. I think Fury is just an incredible Magic card. I think that we kind of need it. I think there's so many creature matchups. Oh my gosh, my cat is having the zoomies right now. I think that Fury is just such an incredible card. It could be a 4-for-1. It could be, if you hard cast it, it's just such a good card that I don't really ever want to not have 1 in my sideboard. Okay, and then we got to talk about this. This is because my good friend Toby wanted me to play 1 on the board when I was looking for good black cards. And I think that this card might be good. So let's look at what this does. Let me read it, because I know that this card is probably not seen any play in almost any format of Limited. 4 mana, 2 blue-black. It comes with 3 loyalty. It has an ability, whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return 1 of them to your hand. If you do, you may activate loyalty abilities of Kaito twice rather than once. We have 8 1-power creatures that fly. And additionally, Ragavan dashes itself and bounces itself anyway. We dash Ragavan, we hit them, its static abilities, we can do it twice. Now let's look at all of its other abilities. I mean, its abilities are really good. +1. Up to 1 target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. Shut off a prime time. Shut off a creature that has a hammer equipped to it. Turn off a blocker so we can hit them directly. Until your next turn. That's just so crazy. 0, draw the card. That's just awesome. That's just card advantage over time. -2. Make a 2/2 artifact creature with Death Touch that says when it leaves the battlefield, so dies or exile or bounce, each opponent loses 2 and you gain 2. I mean, there's a lot of words on this card. There's a lot of value. I know that Jace the Mind Sculptor sees play sometimes in Murktide in the sideboard, and it's not bad. It's a good card. It generates a lot of value. It's really hard for decks like Omnath to get rid of it. Kaito almost does a lot. Almost does. It's not the same. I can't say it's the same, but it creates threats. It protects itself with 2 different abilities, and it draws cards. It can draw up to 2 cards a turn. I think this card could actually be quite good. I haven't seen it played. I want to give it a go. So let's try it out. You never know. If you guys like this kind of content, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. Additionally, leave a comment below of what deck you want me to play in the future. I love doing these viewer request videos. This was a lot of fun to brainstorm, to think how do we make Grixis Delver work? So leave a comment in the section below, you know, what you want me to play. I love blue-red, but I will really try anything, especially a good old brew that you have been, you know, ruminating on. So let me know and leave a like. It really helps the algorithm. It really helps me out. All right. So before this is this is the part where I don't really say let's jump into a league. I have to admit something to you. So last night I attempted to record a video with this deck. I ran out of disk space in the middle of the video. Attempted to repair the video because the video file got corrupted. Could not repair it for whatever reason, through multiple odds and ends. I would like to show you now how we are doing in the league. Brace yourself. The Hot 03. I'm not gonna lie, I had to go through that entire deck tech again and kind of like act like I didn't know how these cards fared in the modern format. How about this? How about we play a match and you can kind of see for yourself. If we win this match, I will play the next one. If we do not win the match, I will end the video. We will talk about the deck list, and you guys will get a new video on Monday, as I've been trying to make new videos Monday through Friday. So let's jump into a league. Here we go. Alrighty, we are at round number 1 for you, round number 4 for me. We are on the play, which is really good. Let's see how the deck does in these matches. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh my god. Oh, is this Ragavan gonna connect? What do we think? What do you think, comment section? Predict now. Would you guys hate me if I kept this? Would you be like, oh no, this is definitely a mulligan, you have no black mana? I really want to try it. Don't base the last matches that you saw, the 03 on these hands. I am keeping this one for scientific purposes. But this hand is a very good example of what I have been feeling with this deck over the games that I've played. The mana has been so incredibly awkward. Don't kill it. Just don't kill it. Ooh! Oh. Bolt? Draw a lightning bolt. So, there's actually a lot of good draws. Not really good draw. There's no way this hand was a keep. I'm sorry. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see what happened. I've now officially seen what happens. Hey, we have 2 castable spells. Our hand is, I mean, it was 50% cast. No, under 50%. I'm just going to counterspell this. Definitely cannot let that hit me. There we go. There we go. Always had it. There was never a moment in time that we did not. And then I'm definitely going to Inquisition them here. See what we hit. We hit a trash for treasure. Yeah, I'm gonna Inquisition them and see what's going on in their hands. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, well, I'm gonna take the Ragavan. Trash for treasure doesn't do anything yet. Experimental synthesizer might whiff, as in, we don't want them to, I guess, draw a removal spell or like a lands, but I can't afford to let this Ragavan hit me and get something off the top of my deck either. And I don't want them to play it as a blocker. So I'm gonna take the Ragavan. And we're just gonna see what happens. I guess they do have the trash for treasure. They could like discard the blood. They have the blood token and stuff. I'm gonna eventually have to play another discard spell to get rid of the trash for treasure. Like that has to happen. I can't let them just like combo me and get Portal into play or Graz or whatever. So I just have to hope that this Ragavan connects. We know all the cards in their hand except one. So as long as it's not like, I wonder if they like do the blood token now, discarding one of the artifacts. Okay, that's a good draw. The reason why I didn't want to take the Trasher Treasure like right away is that we have a counter spell. They're most likely they're not going to be able to combo off on that turn, so we're going to be able to untap with a counter spell backup. So that was the other reason why I wanted to take one of the one drops like the Ragavan. Let's see what we get. A Goblin Engineer. We do not play any artifacts. I am going to Inquisition them again. They discarded the trash for treasure. And I whiff. That was a good play. Yeah, that was a pretty good play. My trash treasure didn't do anything. Now, I think I'm going to Expressive Iteration. I could do this, but this doesn't literally do anything. But I do want to hit a land, so... And they're probably just going to play Urza Saga, Ragavan, bottom, Exile, and then we can play this tapped and say go. Okay. Don't... I guess even if they draw Trash or Treasure, it doesn't even do anything. Interesting. Modern staple Slagwood's Bridge. Yep, Urza Saga. Alright, so once they get to start making tokens of this, we're going to be fighting an uphill battle. And Inquisition is just, we've seen 4 out of 5 discard spells. I can't do anything about them making a 2/2 anyway, so I'm just gonna like... I was going to attack no matter what, even if that meant them sacrificing it, making a 2/2, and blocking, because we have another Ragavan. I can't do anything about the 2/2. And they can only do it as a sorcery anyway. Oh, wow. I don't think that they realized that they could do it. I don't think I realized that they could do it only as a sorcery. I think they would have activated it on their turn. So, win W for us. But, Underworld Cookbook. I mean, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. It doesn't really do very much right now, but having the ability to buy back a creature might be relevant to some degree. I'm very curious as to why they didn't use their Urza Saga, because now they can't cast this Ragavan. I think that they realized their mistake too. Oh, they drew a mountain, so it didn't even matter. Do I want to counter this? There are not many things I'm going to be able to counter. But there are more powerful things that I'm going to be able to counter. And we really got nothing else going on in our hand, so I'm just going to let it resolve. I'm also surprised they didn't dash it, because that would have been the perfect opportunity to attempt to dash it. I'm just going to enter combat and attack and trade off with something, whatever they want to trade off with. Yup. So I know that they still have these 3 cards in their hands. They're gonna be able to cast a Trash or Treasure if they have it. So, and I don't want to put an artifact into the graveyard for them, even though they're probably just gonna get another World Cookbook, which can kind of do that for them. So I guess I'm gonna play an Inquisition here. Okay, so now we know their entire hand, which is a bunch of lands. And I'm going to cast a Ragavan so that I can block. And then that's really it. Yep. Wonder if they get Shadow Spear. That would make sense too. Pyrite Spellbomb. I can't do anything about that. What are the odds they hit the Expressive Iteration off the top? What are the odds? So at some point I might want to discard this Thoughtseize. Unsure. Lightning Bolts. Nice. Nice. Would have liked that one. Okay. Expressive Iteration. Archmage Charm. Well, I really don't want to get hit by Ragavan again. Meaning, I think I'm going to return a Ragavan to my hand and then cast it. And I don't want to take damage, so I'm just gonna. I'm also going to just not have a counterspell up. They need to draw specifically Trash for Treasure and a way to discard something. Okay. So we know they have 2 really big artifacts in their hand at a minimum. The smallest one costs 8, and they have 7 mana. I can't do anything about the Goblin Engineer. So this would be the opportunity if they drew a 3rd Trash for Treasure to cast it. That would be very brutal. Whoa. That's very cool. That is very cool. I've not seen this card yet in Modern. Okay, okay. Let's start with that. Where does that get us? Grave? Okay. We have a 3/3. Not the worst. Unearth is not a cast, right? It's like it's like an activated ability. So I'm not going to be able to do anything about them reanimating this and discarding their hand and drawing 3 cards. Whoa, that's pretty good. I'm gonna counter that. I feel like I kind of have to. We need to find we need to surveil, really, like find a piece of card advantage. Kind of surprised they also didn't like just jam. Oh, there we go. That's what we needed. They didn't just like jam the Graz. But I guess like they wouldn't have they would lose their treasure that way, and it'd be jamming into a potential counterspell that, I mean, they're at the point where they could just cast these big things. Wow, that's so sweet. That's such sweet value. So, I mean, something to note and something to keep in mind of why I don't think that these discard spells are really good anymore in this kind of deck is because when your opponent casts a spell and you counter it, so like for example, if this was a spell snare or a spell pierce or a minor misstep, you make them spend their mana and then you counter it. With something like Thoughtseize or Inquisition, you take the best card out of their hand, and you do get the information of what's in their hand, which is very relevant. But they then get to do whatever they want with their full mana. And then you need to respond to that as well. So, in a deck that has the ability of playing counterspells, the counterspells are just kind of better. And back in the day, with Grixis Delver, our best counterspells were Remands and Mana Leak. So, something to keep in mind for, you know, the survivability of a Grixis Delver style deck. I don't think that the discard spells are where we want to be. I think we lose. I think even if we Steam Vents and Archmage Charm the 4/4, we have to attack. If I play a blocker, I block here. Yeah, we lose, I think. Okay, I'm going to take the Archmage Charm. I'm going to exile the Steam Vents. I'm going to Thoughtseize them for the information. I won't show them that I have a Delver in my deck. I won't show them that I have an Archmage Charm in my deck. Okay, Den of the Bugbear, we can now concede because we just can't beat this board. Games 2 are going to get a little bit better for us. We get Kolaghan's Commands, we get Brotherhood End, we get Fury, we get all these creature removal because they play a bunch of really small creatures that are really annoying. We can... Is Dress Down good? It hits Goblin Engineer. It can hit their own Furies. Is Unmoored Ego good? Not really. Trash for Treasure is kind of like the only card that really matters, and I don't really want to bring in an Unmoored Ego for just Trash for Treasure. Unlicensed Hearse. Does Unlicensed Hearse matter? I think so. They have a lot of graveyard cards, so I say we just bring them both in. Terminate. I feel like Terminate's only good if they get the Trash for Treasure out. How good is Kaido? I mean, it turns off that really big thing. It can generate some card advantage. I'm willing to try it out. I don't actually... It might be, like, too slow, but I'm willing to give it a go. I think I want all of our removal. I think at Ragavan, I think at Delver, probably a little weak. The Thought Seizes we definitely don't want. The Inquisitions are fine. I guess the Thought Seizes are kind of like Inquisitions in a way. But I'm not entirely sure that I really want them. I feel like they might be a little bit too fast. But I do want some of them so I can interrupt their combos. Lightning Bolt is okay. Doesn't actually hit a lot now that I think about it. Goblin Engineer. That's kind of really it. Unholy Heat's not great either. Maybe the removal's just not where we want to be at. Dress Down hits Urza Saga. See, I'm not even sure we want any of the discard, to be honest. Like, I almost just want to cut all the discard. It's not good against an Urza Saga. It's fine against a Trash for Treasure, but a counterspell is better. Because if they Trash for Treasure and we counter it, that's a 2-for-1. They have to sacrifice something. Okay, I'm willing to try out Dress Downs as well. For like a couple Lightning Bolts. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I have no clue how to sideboard versus this deck. Okay, our opening hand has 1-drops that can both be casted, a Fury that can be casted, but no other land. How good is that? Do we have better 6s? Probably. Okay, I mean, this hand is better. Definitely better. I'm going to throw back the Watery Grave because the Polluted Delta can fetch for the Watery Grave, and I want the card in the grave for Delirium. And let's hope we get this Kaido out. I really want to try this Kaido out. It might be too slow, but making a 2/2 with Death Touch is really good versus the Juggernaut thing. Yep. Alright. Land go, I'm pretty sure. Definitely don't want an Unholy Heat to attack. If this is a Ragavan, then I definitely would, but... I'll counterspell pretty much anything that they play here. It will be countered. Red. Interesting. I mean, I said I would counter it, so... Like, I don't have to, but... If they kill our Dragon's Rage Channeler, we have nothing else going on. So I'm gonna counter it so that we have something. Like, they have to Lightning Bolt it now, or... And additionally, I want to hit some lands. Like, this doesn't even do anything. We're 1 step, 2 steps closer to Delirium now. Expressive Iteration gets us to Delirium. They just cast Ragavan. Okay. So I can Unholy Heat Ragavan here and try to find a land. I think I'm gonna Unholy Heat Ragavan. Maybe not. Maybe I'm supposed to Expressive and see if we can find a land. Let's take a draw. Oh, that really hurts. That really hurts. I want to get to... I really want Delirium. I can Expressive on my second main phase. Yeah, let's do that. It's kind of weird, but like... I want to cast this Expressive now. They don't have anything going on. I don't really care if I get in for 3. Like, I would like to, but like, it's okay if I don't. I will keep any sort of red source, and I will bin everything else. Okay. Hand, bottom, exile, play the land, say go, and then I have an Unholy Heat that I can fetch shock for. They can't attack, and I get to cast Kaido next turn, and then hit them, and then use 2 Kaido abilities, which will be really cool. This is my first match out of all 4 matches that I've been able to see Kaido. So I'm very interested in how it fares. You got a lightning bolt? Seems like it. That seems like something. Maybe they're discarding? Which abilities am I going to use on Kaito next turn? Ooh, Goblin Engineer. That's actually kind of scary. That is actually kind of scary. I think that I have to Unholy Heat that on the end step. If they get something really big, that tells me they have trash for treasure in their hand. If they get something they can reanimate, that tells me that they're going to attempt to use its ability. So that makes me think that I can't necessarily play this Kaido. I have to find a counterspell of some sort. Because if they just play trash or treasure, is this sack a creature? Yeah, I can't. I'd have to draw some sort of artifact removal, so we're gonna fetch a God. Our life total is gonna get so low, but I really want double red. All right, consider. We're looking for any counterspell of any kind. Bin. Bin. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not good. My options are I can Unholy Heat something to surveil and then draw a card with Fury with Fiery Islet. But then I only have 1 mana. So I can either blind draw with Fiery Islet and hope to find specifically and only counterspell. Or I can play Kaito. I think it's Kaido. I think it's Kaido time. Let's hit them. Let's plus on the Ragavan. Here we go. All right. Oh my goodness. I need to play Kaito first. Kaito's static ability is a triggered ability that triggers only when a creature deals combat damage to the opponent. Oh, this card is actually worse than I thought. I mean, that's only like a minor. It's only minorly worse, but that's still like actually quite a lot worse. Experimental Synthesizer hits Seasoned Pyromancer. So if they don't have a land... Okay. Oh, they had a land. So are they going to play the Seasoned Pyromancer? No, they're Blood Mooning. Wow, that's really interesting. So they didn't have a trash for treasure. And they're going to try to race me. And they're giving up Seasoned Pyromancer so they can turn off all of my lands. I feel like that's worse. Okay. So I'm going to enter combat. I'm going to attack for 3. I'm going to return it to my hand so I can activate Sway. So we're going to draw a card. We're going to see what happens. Okay, and then I'm going to make it 2/2, I think. And then I'm going to Unholy Heat Goblin Engineer so they can't buy back the Pyrite Spell Bomb. So they can't just kill Kaito. And then I'll play the Dragon's Rage Channeler, play a land, and say go, and then like we'll see what happens. I mean, if they don't like trash us like right now, that was pretty good. Lands is the last card in your hand of the combo piece. Yep. Uh-huh. So, was there an alternative? Was there an alternative that I could have done? Could I have drawn another card? Would that have mattered? We don't play any sort of a braid effect. They're just like letting me... This from any graveyard? It's like not even that good. They can reanimate a DRC, I guess. If we draw a Ragavan, we're actually like not in the worst spot, right? Oh no, they have the synthesizer. There's... Okay, that does not do anything. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a card and see. Okay, we are dead. GG's opponent. GG's. You know what? Let's play the last match too. Let's play the last match. I want to give you guys some content. I feel bad with just ending this after just one match, but we're not playing for any prize. There is nothing on the line now. Dignity. There's dignity and respect on the line. We have won one game. This deck is so bad. All right, next round. All right, round number 2. Known as round number 5 for me, with Grixis Delver. I mean, the hand's good. I mean, this hand is basically a Murktide hand. All right, Tron. All right, it's time. Maybe we can get a match win. Our hand is very fast, which is what we want to see against Tron. If they have the second Tron piece, followed by a Sylvan Scrying, they don't. Do they just naturally get Tron? Do they just, like, have Tron? It seems like it, right? It seems like they just have it. So I guess I want to hold up a counterspell, but I only have one. Since that's the case, I'm just gonna play our DRC and like, so I know that I could like hold up counterspell and then like play Dragon's Rage Channeler, but like I'm probably gonna end up casting the counterspell like at some point. One of their best plays is like Karn, and then we can kill a Karn. Liberated. Okay, they just naturally drew Tron in their 7. Okay. All right. Actually, this ended up working out better for us. The Thragtusk actually does not matter, in my opinion. Let's go to end step first before I do anything. Let's Lightning Bolt them, and let's see if we can get some Delirium going. Instant. We're going to want this. That's a shame. Play this. Let's maybe get Delirium. I guess I'm just going to fetch Shock. get my black mana. I don't really care if I show them that I have black mana, and let's like lightning bolt them. Creature into the grave. We're so close. Next turn we have Delirium. Uh-oh. Yeah, that can't resolve, I assume. So we want sorcery in the grave. I'm actually going to keep this on top, specifically because if I cast Expensive Iteration and we do not hit another land to hold up another counterspell, we will lose. Most likely, most likely. They put Gigantha into hand, that's fine. That doesn't mean anything. They probably attack. They did not. Wow. Alright, so expressive. Triggers. Inquisition Grave. Unholy Heat Grave. That's probably the best sequence of things that I could have seen, right? Another counterspell for whatever they're going to do. And a lands to guarantee like the 2-for-1 out of the EI. Another tower. Now they have to attack, right? Sadly, our clock is faster than theirs. Sadly for them. Tapped lands, attack, go. I ain't messing around. I'm not playing this Murktide. We're winning. We did it. We won a second game. I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, for helping give birth to me. I would like to thank my friends and family. I gracefully accept this award. No. Tron, Thoughtseize in. Unmoored Ego. It's time. It's time. Terminate is definitely out. Unholy Heats are out. I know that it's like it kills a planeswalker, but like I'd rather just a lightning bolt take it was face. That's a big deal. Koligon's Command can hit it can hit some stuff like O-Stone. Let's get rid of Inquisition maybe. Inquisition doesn't necessarily do anything. Kaido is kind of interesting. It's a little slow. Would I rather something else here? Hearst doesn't do anything. Explosive sucks. Stress down's not good. I guess I would rather Unholy Heats over Inquisitions. No, Inquisition hits O-Stone and can hit the thing that they Karn minus get. So, all right. Turn 1 Delver, turn 2 Thoughtseize. I'm in. I'm in. Star. I wonder if I'm supposed to just Thoughtseize. Like maybe their hand has like a Sylvan Scrying and we can just take it and they just can't get Tron. Oh, it does. Yeah, I'm definitely just taking Sylvan Scrying. That's basically taking a Tron piece out of their hands. Ancient Stirrings gets a O-Stone. Okay. It's good to know. And they drew a star as well. Kind of interesting that they didn't play the sphere that we know about. But I don't think that they're thinking about it. So I'm going to play the Misty Rainforest here. And then the Delver so that I can Delver check if it's not an instant or sorcery. Or something. If it's not something I want, I can fetch it away. They sacked. They're probably just going to play Sphere, I assume. Oh, they drew a Sylvan Scrying. That's a good draw. For a power plant, they're just going to play, and they're going to play a Sphere. Oh, yep. Trigger. It is a Thoughtseize. I would love to reveal that. And do I want to I'm going to play an Expressive here. Even if it only draws me a card, we're really not going to get many more situations to like play these if we're going to be playing like a combo game. So I'm going to take the counter spell. It kind of sucks that I'm getting rid of one of these, but I'm still going to cast a Thoughtseize because, you know, they drew Tron. Interesting. So I guess I'm just going to take Wormcoil here. That was a very good draw, opponent. That was a very good draw. Very sneaky. So there's Tron. If they want to just play Thragtusk, and I guess now they can play O-Stone too. So K Command is not bad. Let's go for an Expressive again. We have counter spells and stuff. A Delver. I don't think I really want to hold up Counterspell, I'm not going to lie. Like, I know that they could have something, but I want them to crack the O-Stone. I don't think they're going to do it with just one Delver. Hand bottom exile, play the Delver, play the lands, attack for 3. I want them to crack this O-Stone, and I can't really win if they draw a huge Tron thing anyway. I will not be blocking. Am I blocking? I won't block the first one. Map, okay. Map searches for a blast zone. Uh-huh. All right. Delver and Expressive iteration. I'm not sure I can fetch here. I have to attack with just one of them so that they use their blast zone to represent a blocker. Okay, now I have a question of, do I want to Expressive iteration and attempts to find some sort of lightning bolt effect so that I can do something with the Thragtusk, or do I want to consider? Expressive looks at more cards, looks at 3. But then I have to shock myself in order to play a red source. I guess I'm going to consider so I can take a hit maybe. That does nothing right now. Okay, well, I could Expressive there. No, I don't really think it's good. I'll just take it, and we will cast Expressive next turn. I will counterspell anything that they play. Even then, I think we lose. No, we need a Murktide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we can make an 8/8 Murktide here. And then they have to crack the Oblivion Stone, and then we lose. I'm not entirely sure how we win. Well, I'm going to cast an Expressive. Hand bottom exile, play it. Say go. Okay, so they're gonna do the smart thing, put the thing counter on the thing, and crack the O stone. Let's just make sure they do it. All right, they did it. You got me. Actually, no, 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 no. I got me. Okay. I don't really think I want to change anything. I'm not gonna lie. I think that we were fine as is. If we draw an unmoored ego, we turn off Tron. All right. All right. Here we go. They're on a mull to 5. 4. All right. I have a really good feeling about this one. We might actually win a match. 20% win rate. Better than a 0% win rate. Let the record show. We reveal a Archmage Charm, sure. Power Plant. Interesting. Okay, so that means that I am going to... I guess I'm not, like, in any sort of rush to play this Unmoored Ego. Because they can't get Tron next turn, so... They can get Blast Zone. Does that really matter? It costs 3 for them to activate the Blast Zone. I'm going to keep this on top so that I can play it. Let's, ooh, that was a good draw. Let's Thoughtseize them and see what's up. Holy moly. Okay. Let's take the O-Stone. They're going to be able to play the O-Stone, but... Yeah, let's take the O-Stone here. Let's cast a Ragavan. Polluted Delta. I know that they're just going to probably Expedition Map for a Blast Zone, but... I mean, that's better than them getting a green source to Ancient Stirrings, better than them getting another Tron piece. They're in a very bad spot, and they didn't even use the map. They got a forest. Okay, and they're just going to cast the Ancient Stirrings? Okay, that makes sense. There's a mine. Is it weird that I'm just going to... Yeah, I'm just going to Lightning Bolt them. I guess I'm going to always have the mana for this. No, let's just Lightning Bolt them. Let's just use my mana while I can. Put the pressure on. Yeah, because now I can, like, play the Delver and, like... Golos. Am I supposed to Unmoored Ego name Blast Zone? I think it's the only way we lose. Yeah. Let's do it. It's weird. The 1-4. We did it. All right, the deck list. Overall, this deck is not good. It is not playable. And let me tell you why. And it's mostly from the matches that you did not see. Delver of Secrets is not good against Wrenn and 6. Let me actually show you a clip from the matches that we played, just so you can kind of get an idea of what I mean by that. So, this was one of the matches from yesterday that I recorded that ended up not seeing the light of day. This was the second half that did not get corrupted. Let's look at what happens very quickly. So, our opening hand is, like, not bad, right? Like, we have Delver, we got, you know, Consider, Express, all this kind of stuff. Not a bad hand. Turn 1 Air Mesa. Here, I'm just going to jam Delver. We can hold a Consider, but I feel like we just need to like get something going. If they bolt it, that's fine. But the main problem is that they don't just bolt it. The Delver resolves, and they just jam a Wrenn 6. And I know that, yes, this was my play that I made. I played the Delver. I allowed them to line it up with a Wrenn 6. But the main problem that I have is that it is just another creature that dies to Wrenn 6. It's another creature that dies to Fury. These cards are everywhere. And Dragon's Rage Channeler, as people have been kind of seeing, is not even that great. Like, it's fine. It's good sometimes. It's aggressive. But it dies very easily to a lot of different things. Ragavan is a bit of a different story. Ragavan has an evasiveness to it. It has dash. It can get around a Wrenn 6. It can get around a Fury. And additionally, its upside is so much higher than this Delver, than the Dragon's Rage Channeler, because it can win games. It can get you card advantage and mana advantage. Fix your colors. Ragavan does a lot, and Delver does not overall. The main issues that I had throughout these matches was Delver is just not strong enough. The black splash was so hard on our mana and dealt so much damage to us that it was almost worth just to play Death Shadow. But our goal was to not play Death Shadow, right? Like, we want to play Grixis Delver. We had to lose so much life to get these colors to work. And I'm sure that there's some combination of Dark Shores and that maybe it works, but I don't know if it's worth it. We really have to think what black cards in the main are going to be worth it to play black. The other problem is that Terminate was just worse than Unholy Heat, interestingly enough. Unholy Heat is essentially a Terminate that costs 1 mana that can hit Planeswalkers. This card is just not really playable anymore. It's clunky. And additionally, a lot of the creatures that we care about are 1 mana, meaning that we're trading down in mana. And that's just not good right now. Modern is so efficient, hyper efficient, that cards like this just don't really make the cut anymore. And the discard spells were good sometimes, but a lot of the time, I just wish that they were their counter spell variant. A Spell Snare, a Spell Pierce, a Minor Misstep. Because, something that I was saying before, when they cast their spell and you counter it, they still had to spend their mana. What you get for the discard spells is you get the upside of seeing their hand, getting all the information. And additionally, taking a card that maybe you could not have countered. The upside of the counter spell is that they use their mana, and when you're trying to play a tempo style deck where you're playing a creature and then trying to protect it, the discard spells just don't really do it. Sideboard cards, though. Unmoored Ego has been great. Throughout the entire league, it was the only card that I was like, wow, this is worth playing black for. The Thoughtseize, Terminate, K-Command even. Just, we never really saw it. The Kaido, we saw the one game where we played it. I mean, I made a mistake with it, but it, like, there's just not a lot here for black. Unmoored Ego, though. There's something with this card. If black ends up being playable sometime in the future, this card should be on your radar as a sideboard card. It is a bomb. Destroys Tron, destroys Amulet. Really good against Indomitable Creativity. One of the only games I won was against Indomitable Creativity, naming Archon. So, something to think about. And that's all I have. There's really not much else to talk about, to be honest. Archmage Charm is always good. Murktide could have been 3, but we wanted to try out a more instant sorcery dense deck. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to this guy right here for the deck suggestion. Although the deck was not very good, which is definitely, like, you know, I built the deck, so I'm going to take some of the blame for it. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to brew. I love working those brain muscles to figure out how to make a certain card work. And it was fun exploring an archetype that is really near and dear to my heart that I haven't really played for some time. I mean, gosh, I miss the days of Young Pyromancer and Remand and Mana Leak, but those are days of the past. We are now in a new era of Urza Saga, Renin 6, Ragavan. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, that is the way that it is. I appreciate you. Please leave a like. Comment what you want me to play in the future. I would really, really appreciate it. And follow me on social media, at TylerBMTG on Twitter, Tyler_B on Twitch. I do a bunch of IRL streaming, just chatting streaming, do some video games here and there, maybe even some Magic here and there. And that's really it, y'all. I appreciate you, and as always, I love you. Goodbye.